You're misleading the public. You're lying to people.
We are part of a giant studio set all over the stage in your mind.
Jesus Christ, and suck my dick. Suck my dick.
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Man's getting rude. Man's getting rude.
It could be a what's it could be an onion ring, a hairless monkey zipping through the vacuum, or a potato rock.
Yeah, if we dumped what we found right now, it'd be bad. It would be bad.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Gem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. This week we bring you a veritable Super Bowl full of Flat Earth foolishness. I'm your host Gem, and missing from our panel tonight, due to a serious wardrobe malfunction, is my lovely co-host Twit. But joining us as always is our touchline reporter, Lewis Hackett.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Good evening, everyone. Have you got the bell on?
Any news from the dressing room, Lewis? Last minute dressing room news.
No.
I thought I'd put you on the spot with that, and I thought you might answer like that.
I'm wearing pajama pants.
I deserve that. And because our masters at the BBC insist that we have someone saying nice things about the flatties, it's the Kingston cowboy, Cat Earth.
Hello. I'm not feeling very well. I'm feeling a bit ill today, so don't bully me or anything. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Cat. You know, I had a stinking headache an hour ago, but I've overdosed on anodines, so...
That's good. I'm just drinking tea.
Now that I'm racing through the little introductions here because half the people on them haven't turned up. So, of course, this game can't kick off without an LA Ram. Direct from the Hollywood fan zone, it's M. Scott Veach.
Hi, how's it going? Are the LA Rams? Are they in the Super Bowl?
I'm glad it doesn't interest you in the way it does Twit.
Yeah.
Else we would have no American representation here at all.
Yeah,
oh no, we've got
lovable.
Oh yeah, joining us for the first time tonight. You know him well from the Flat Earth afternoon soap opera. It's the old England patriot, Alan B.
Thank you very much. I've brought the custard creams.
Glad to hear it. Hopefully there might be a couple more people turn up, but we'll see what happens throughout the show. So that's our panel for this evening. Let's get gossiping. First off tonight is well, we were hoping last week to bring you this Logan Paul documentary, but yeah, it is further delayed, I am told. So anyway, we've got a clip of that. Here is Logan Paul being interviewed to tell us more about it. Said getting it wrong as usual. Play.
So tell me about this documentary. Like,
what do you want to know, bro? It's the most important document of our generation.
What are you trying to achieve with this documentary?
Man, that's I guess I really should have thought about that, huh? Why did I create this documentary? Man, this year I've been focused on doing things that intrigue me. This flat Earth movement intrigued me. Do you know how much you know about the flat Earth?
I tend to avoid it, honestly, because I find I feel like the vast majority of people are doing it to be like ironic, and there's a couple of crazies that actually believe it.
I think it's the opposite.
Really?
I think there's a lot of people who believe it, and there's a couple people who do it just to be trolls.
Mm-hmm.
And this movement fascinated me. So we, how do I say this? We went to the Flat Earth Conference in Denver, Colorado, and man, I don't know how much I can say about this because I gotta keep it kind of on the low. But we basically became one with the flat earthers.
Okay.
And joined their movement.
Okay.
And picked their brains about why they think the earth is flat, and then came to conclusions of our own, which obviously you'll see in the documentary. Like, you too could be sitting in front of a flat earther right now. Who knows? You'll have to watch it.
Oh boy,
doc. It's interesting.
Why is all this stuff rising up right now?
Yeah. So the conclusion I came to was people like to feel like they're a part of a group. They like to feel like they're a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Oftentimes, people feel isolated. They feel like they don't belong to anything. And the Flat Earth movement became a tight-knit community of people who all believe in something that, in their opinion, if it's true, could mean to a greater understanding of what it means to be a human.
Mm-hmm.
And they like that. They're attracted towards that. And yeah, I don't even know if it's so much about whether or not they actually believe the earth is flat. They just like being part of a group.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like, imagine if you're just like an outcast in high school, and you grow up and you're still like kind of an outcast. And like most of these people are, as you can imagine, like you using your words, call them crazies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like they are. And that's why they fascinate me. And so can you imagine if you're like a crazy and you look to your right at this conference and there's like another crazy there, and you look to your left and there's another person who thinks the same thing as you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got that little like understanding of what you perceive to be real, and you know something that the rest of the world doesn't. It's exciting, and I think they thrive on that. But again, I could be talking about myself, bro. Like, I'm fucking crazy. Like, who knows? Like,
how long have you been working on this for?
So the conference was, mid-November.
When are you dropping the final product?
I mean, dog, the original release date was like December 15th. Oh. So we are fucking behind. I want to do it as soon as possible. Hopefully early February seems about right. I want to drop a trailer first, obviously, and hype it up, because like this is the greatest thing I've ever made in my life.
Greatest thing he's ever made in his life. I mean, he has quite a reserved way of talking about it for how much he's trying to amp it up, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, that answers every question we had about what his intentions are, what he believes.
Right.
Like, he made it clear as crystal.
Yeah, he's definitely no flat earther. That's for certain.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, the answer he gives is pretty much you know, a standard, you know, 101 answer as to why they do it. I mean, whether it's true or not, who knows? But you know, it's an insight that is shared by a lot of people.
Yeah, I thought, I'm surprised. I thought he seemed like he got a really, really good handle on what drives flat Earth to me. You know.
Yeah.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
I wonder how they feel about it.
Right.
That documentary is probably going to have some really good footage on it, because he was in a very unique position among people from the outside. So it's going to be interesting to see what he has on there and what he chose to put in. So I'm looking forward to that, actually. What do you... I don't know.
Imagine getting punked by this guy, though.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. He seems a bit more intelligent when he's not doing his own shows or his own things. He seems like a different person.
You know, he's really, I have to say, he's grown on me when I've seen him do this impulsive thing and this thing, you know.
I think this is him transitioning to perhaps an older audience.
Yeah.
Away from kids.
Right. Yeah. And I think he's very, very, very aware of his own media presence, his own image, isn't he? He's all about his image, and
well,
he's an expert, I think, at presenting one, and you know, he presents it as he made this big fuck up with the suicide forest business, and now he's sort of making amends and mending his ways, and I don't know. It kind of looks to be true, really. I think.
Yeah, he's also got a very, very big team, professional team behind him, and he's got managers, and his channel is managed professionally, and obviously he's got marketing relationships. I mean, he's basically a teenager for cash, isn't he? And
well, like mid-20s, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I think he's still trying to develop some sort of an idea of what he wants to be, and he does have some sort of an ambition. Like, he doesn't want to just be a big jokester that everyone knows. He wants to actually make a difference, which I don't think this Flat Earth documentary is going to be that, but whatever.
Who was it that Mark Sargent walked? Did Mark Sargent walk out of that conference because?
Yeah, because of him, and I guess from a Flat Earth perspective, that's turned out to be the right thing to do.
Right. I wonder if he has started crowing yet.
Yeah, I guess we'll soon be hearing about it, because I think I did see one of the flatties had picked up on this video, because you dug this out for me, Lewis, and thank you for the production on this. But where did this come from?
This came from a podcast. The logo of it briefly flashed in the video there. I forgot where it was, what the name of the podcast was.
Not to worry.
But I can dig it up for us later. But there was a lot of things that got brought up, and he talked about the suicide forest in that podcast, and how it impacted him and how it's changed his attitude. And I think a lot of what he said was tailored specifically because this was a live public conversation, and he wanted to come across as somebody who had changed. But I think really all he realized is that it hurt him, and he went too far in some way. I don't think he really understands why people blew up at him, though.
Right.
And so, I think it's really affecting his sense of identity, because he knows that he still wants to have this presence and he still wants to do things, but at the same time, he's not sure what's wrong and what's right because of how much of a shock it was to him that this happened.
Interesting. I guess we should push on.
What do you think community will make of it, though, Jem?
Sorry?
What do you think the community, the Flat Earth community?
I was going to say, when I was asking Lewis about where it came from, I noticed one Flat Earth video this week that was referring to Flat Earthers as crazies. So someone had picked up on that from somewhere. So that was... I noticed that, but only one. So I guess the rest of them are still hoping for better things, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Just joined us is Bob the Science Guy. Welcome, Bob.
Hello, gentlemen.
How you doing, mate? Good to see you.
Oh, not too bad. Just finished dinner and realized the time got away from me. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, no problem. No problem. You haven't missed much. Just Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, my internet hero?
Yes, that's the one.
What great things did he have to say about the flat Earth? I'm thinking about becoming a flat earther just because he's in it.
Well,
and he's popular.
Well, he's made this documentary, and it looks like he doesn't look like a flat earther to me anymore.
No.
Do you think maybe he was pulling them?
Oh,
yes, I think he definitely was.
I mean, and if you think about it, he went in there and he lied to them. He said, "I think I'm coming out of the closet. I'm one of you," and to get access, to get them on camera. They're going to be pissed.
Yeah, they should be.
Oh, well, they're going to get really upset when they find out that I'm really Phuket word.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel, Bob, while you're here, just in case no one knows
channel?
You.
My channel? Let's see. I started it about 2 months ago. I've been on YouTube for a while, but I started my channel about 2 months ago just because I started seeing some weird stuff out there and I wanted to put out some videos to try and fix some of it. And it's become quite the hobby for me. I've learned how to make videos and things like that. It's just a great little skill. The other thing that's really cool about it is, it helped me revisit my high school physics.
Right.
And I started thinking about questions like, well, it never really occurred to me to think about how I could see the Earth was rotating. And then all of a sudden people started asking about it. So I said, oh, well, let's see how we can see the Earth's rotating. And I started looking at light on mountains and, weights and star fields. And, it's just kind of an interesting thing to kind of hang out and waste some time on YouTube.
Cool. Awesome. I know you've
and
been
learn a
churning
little bit
the
while we're at it.
Out, so
the other
some great content.
The biggest thing that was really cool about it is I know guys in Australia and I know folks over in England and Scotland and the Netherlands now, and I've got all these people that I know. I even know folks in Thailand.
Wow.
Yes,
we're truly international.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's really neat just to hang out with them.
Now then, our next item coming up, I know it's a guy that you've had some interaction with, which is this Dr. John D. I forgot his name there for a moment.
Dr. John D. Yeah. He tried to get me involved in some sort of a peer-to-peer I see the light thing.
Right. Let's have a look. We've got a little clip of a bit of a podcast that he did. And I've stuck over some of his previous experiment that he set up, and some of his titles of his videos, because some of the video titles he uses have been sort of quite antagonistic. I think is probably a good word. Anyway, let's have a listen to what he's got to say. Bob, I don't really realise, but you have to. The clips don't play here in the Hangout, so you need to have the watch page open. Do you have the link for that?
No, sir, I don't think I do.
I did send it you. Hang on, let me get
Did you send it over to me in Discord?
Yeah. It'll be...
Okay, so I'm going to...
I actually
so the watch
sent you
page
3
on
links.
YouTube.
It'll be the second one
Yeah, I
down.
got you here.
All
right, I've got it now.
Cool. Else you'll
yeah, he tried to invite me to join that thing, and I said, hey, I'm more than happy to give you some advice on it and such.
Sure.
And I made the mistake of saying, you don't seriously think the Earth is flat, do you?
Yeah.
And then
I've
the fight
seen
began.
those emails. Yeah, actually, I've got those. Let's have a look at those after, if you don't mind. And if we play this clip now, and then everyone will know what we're talking about. Bear with me a second. There's about, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes of this. So it does go on a little bit. Where are we?
Well, while you're queuing that up, I debunked Marble's laser across Puget Sound video, that 10.3 mile video that he had. And I came to a conclusion I wasn't going to bother with any I see the light things that were less than 40 kilometers short of shore.
Right.
Simply because there's just far too much variation on them. The refraction, I'm not going to sit down and argue with somebody over, is 12 feet of curvature missing or is it not missing?
Sure. Anyway, let's play the clip.
40 kilometers, it's 100 meters. Then we got something to talk about.
Cool. Right, I'm going to run this clip.
Welcome back to Roxanne and Robin's podcast, episode 6, with Dr. John D from Brighton. And welcome to the podcast, Dr. John. How are you?
Thanks a lot. Yep, really good. Looking forward to like this weekend. I've got a lot of building work to do.
Have you?
Just got my new laser from China.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's good.
So, would you mind just giving me a bit of background about yourself? What is your sort of science background, and what brought you into flat Earth?
Well, my science background is spectrometry, so light. So it's all about light and passing light through substances and the interaction of light with substances.
Okay.
And I do so that's my background, and I was looking on YouTube for these videos about spectrometry, and And for some reason, in the sidebar, there like came up some like laser, like there were laser tests, across the frozen lake. And at that point, I had no idea about flat Earth and all of that stuff.
Really?
I had no idea. But I thought, oh, that looks like a fascinating thing. So I clicked it and I watched it. I thought, okay, interesting. And then I watched some more and I thought, okay, like they're faking this. And like they're faking it pretty well. So I thought, I watched more and more and I got really like frustrated. I thought, this is ridiculous. People are making this ridiculous stuff and putting, there for people to see, and people are just going to get the wrong idea.
Okay.
So then after seeing these like videos, and because kind of like spectrometry and light was my main field, I had this thing to go and just blow them out of the water. It's like this is ridiculous, like this is insulting me, the whole field.
Okay.
So I purchased lasers, from China. I got a group of friends. We did some tests. We got closer and closer to like sea level. And as far as we could tell, the lasers were traveling in a straight line right across the top of the sea. And I've been, and you probably see my videos, I've been down to 9 centimeters above like sea level, like where I've had the laser. So I have to say, so far, I can't prove these videos wrong.
Brilliant. So why don't you share with us your idea for your next experiment? Because
it's going to be launched like this weekend. So we're just working on like the final website. We are doing like laser tests and like torch tests from Brighton like West Pier, which is the old burnt down pier, to like Worthing Pier. So we're going to have like cameras and torches and like lasers like both sides. And we're going to see how low we can get down to like the water.
Fantastic.
Everybody will be like invited. Everybody come down to Brighton or Worthing, bring a torch, bring a camera, bring your mobile phone.
I'm going.
And we are going to invite a group of like people, well-known like YouTubers, who like care about like where we live and are willing to get into some talk about it. So we are going to invite them to view the plan, and we want them to either say yes, like this plan's good, or no, this plan's not. And like if people say it's not, we want them to say why it's not, and we want them. And we want them to say how they would then change the plan.
Okay, and I take it by well-known YouTubers, you mean some of the debunkers out there?
Well, what I mean is everybody. we are choosing everybody, absolutely, like everyone who is, who's got quite a big like following. We want to get, all the people involved in this. We want them to look at our plan. We want them to tear it apart as much as they can. So within 3 weeks, we get a watertight plan that we all agree will work.
And what would be absolutely amazing, and I'm sure it's going to go this way, but I'm trying to stay detached myself, is that if you did achieve something where the Mick West and the Simon Dance of this world just cannot refute what you've done, then we will salute you and applaud you even more. It's going to be amazing for us.
All the stuff on YouTube, like much of it seems to have like lost its way. It's become personal, and people say this and like, people respond, and we've kind of drifted away from real science, real measurements being like taken and talking about the core scientific like principles. So, but then of course, when like Mick West tries to lie, he tries to lie to people. That's what really got me in a way. It's like you're using like science, which is my main tool in life to make sense of life.
Yeah.
And then you're using it to lie and try and trick people, and you're using, but that's not what like science is for.
Been out here on the beach since this afternoon. We've been out on the beach since about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Setting up the lasers, getting the cameras set up.
No refraction at all.
Now going to let you listen to what Lee's saying. So, what's good? What's good at the moment?
We are suffering bad refraction. That is where they are, but that's refraction. That's mirroring. Right. Yeah. And what's happening is the laser appears, disappears, appears, disappears.
Any globers shown up? No. No globers have shown up as far as we can see.
Oh, what, here?
No,
not
no, none. No globers or their representatives. Oh, down there, yeah, I can see it. Nice. Nice, can you see that flash?
Yeah, we can
you see the flash?
One, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't look like we're going to get the ample conditions that we want, so we may make it a wrap for this evening.
That was amazing. It's almost like a reality TV show, isn't it? That end bit.
Right. I mean, I've got serious doubts about this guy, I have to say. There's all sorts of things that don't seem to add up. First of all, he isn't allowing comments on any of his videos. He's seems to have, you know, as usual, gone on this, well, not as usual, but kind of in a similar way to Riley, gone on this sort of, you know, waged a war against Mick West and the curve calculator. It's all very odd. You know, his PhD is, I mean, I don't know if this, I have no idea, but he's written it down as being spectrophotometry, but said it as spectrometry. So I don't know if maybe our audience, or I don't know. Do you know, Bob, if they're different?
Well, yeah, actually, spectrometry, you know, I mean, he's referring to the instrument rather than the study of the beams of light and, you know, the breakdown of light.
Right, and spectrophotometry, is that different?
That's the method, isn't it?
Yep, it's the method. The method of the tool. Yeah.
Right.
But he's calling, so he wrote it down.
Yeah, it's a method and a tool.
Spectrophotometry, which I spent a long time. I spent a few hours trying to find any department anywhere that has anything that would be a degree in. I couldn't find anything. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I couldn't find one thing. But then when he says it, he says a totally different word. It's weird. It's almost like he's making it up.
A flat earther making something up?
He's
Tell me it's not so.
He's definitely not a doctor, and the way he speaks like the teenage son of Jonathan Ross.
Right. I mean, I noticed in his email responses to you, Bob, because he's published some of those. I don't know if you knew that, but he got videos on his channel which show these emails, and they're very sort of juvenile, I thought, antagonistic in their tone.
He published my emails with him?
Yes.
He did, yeah. I can show them if you want.
Send me the link. I want to review them a little bit later, because I'll respond to that.
But if you look on his channel, it's called Invited Participants Update 2 or something like that. And in that is where he basically goes through mostly his email exchange with you.
Seriously?
Right, yeah. I think in one of them he threatens to make this exchange public. But it's all very absurd. At one point he says you know, he's talking about the scientific method, and I know you take him to task on that a bit, and he's making a very Nathan Oakley style argument, and then lo and behold, he says, I'm very aware of what the scientific method is because I've just been dressed down or torn apart by Nathan Oakley about it.
Yeah, I do remember that. So he published the emails. Okay, well,
right. But I mean, I
think I did a decent job holding my, you know,
right.
being
Yeah, I mean,
accountable to myself. I don't think I was a
you
jerk.
need to be ashamed of, certainly. But it just seemed, just you know, he's supposedly a PhD, but he's you know, he's taken a dressing down from Nathan Oakley on what is and isn't science, apparently.
Does anybody know what Nathan Oakley's background is in any of this? I mean, is he like got some degree in basket weaving or something that we should be aware of?
His degree, I think, is in like I want to say stagecraft, or maybe not the right thing, but something to do with like media and theatre and that kind of thing.
Yeah, drama.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
A drama production?
It's probably like the sound tech, isn't it? Because he's got like, he was working for that company, wasn't he? He was a sound system company.
Yeah, it was a salesperson. For,
yeah, he was
Cordy
sales.
All right.
Got punched, didn't he?
I was going to actually try and turn this camera on, but it doesn't seem to want to work.
Oh, well, don't worry.
You don't want to see me anyhow.
I saw the clips of the emails from the video you made for the show tonight, Jem, but I didn't see in those clips any of Bob's actual responses. It seems like those are just John's responses to Bob.
Right. Well, I just took a few choice ones where I thought he'd said some particularly stupid things. Like he'd said the only way you know, he made a distinction between knowing and believing, and his requirement for knowledge was personal empirical proof that you've experienced yourself from a repeatable experiment. And do you know what I mean? You know, a whole, you know, Nathan Oakley style list of, you know, things.
Well, there's a problem with that, you know. I mean, there's a big problem with that. We have a saying in aviation, and that is that good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. And you need to learn from the bad decisions of others, because you're simply not going to live long enough or survive all of their bad decisions.
Right.
And I put a video out today addressing that rather dark ages mentality. You know, I had a picture of a woman that had just delivered a baby. And, you know, as a male, I'm never going to personally deliver a baby. I seem to recall something about that when I was in school, but I don't think I can do it. So I have to rely on the experience of others to tell me it's a rather painful experience. And based on the preponderance of evidence, I'm kind of in agreement that that is a rather uncomfortable experience. That's still science, you know. I mean, there's three types of science. There's observational science, there's experimental science, and there's theoretical science. Some people even put, what's the other one that they, practical science? But, you know, each one of them has their own variation of the scientific method. You know, you're going to tell me that astronomy is not a science because I can't, you know, the investigator cannot independently vary the orbit of planets? Or seismology is not a science? You know, come now.
Yeah, it's absurd, and you know, I've made this argument myself. I'll plug myself here on my channel Jem Panda 2012 in my video Faking Flat 4. You know, I address quantum eraser and Nathan Oakley's argument on this. I address what they say about the scientific method. I know you heard some of this in that hangout we were in together, Bob. You know, I had to plough through it a bit with Quantum Eraser sort of talking over me all the time, but you know, it isn't this list of 4 things or whatever that they're quoting and pretending it to be, and this is just, you know, something that Quantum Eraser has manufactured to make his Bronze Age book you know, comport with reality. It allows him to reject vast portions of reality as, you know, they're just observations and I can ignore them.
Well, that's the problem. Scientific method, the entire purpose behind it is to advance our knowledge. Scientific method is not a weapon. You know, you don't weaponize it to suppress knowledge. And that's what they're attempting to do. They're attempting to suppress knowledge that doesn't fit with their little fantasy narrative.
Right. Anyone else any thoughts on this?
I can't. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when he comes out with what is acceptable refraction. That'll be pretty telling. And then, like we said a little bit before, I think we weren't on air. Bob said that it wouldn't be worth looking into anything that was under 40 kilometers or so because there's too much variation on what you're going to expect to see. So I think that's something else that should be addressed more regularly.
I gave you guys a link to a video that is all queued up that you may be interested in, and that is remember the Monterey Bay observation with the flashing mirror?
Right.
That was 15.3 miles, and we got almost 40 feet of refraction on it, and it's clearly documented with superimposed images. You know, it may just be a minute if you want to queue it up. I think it's up top there.
I won't if you don't mind, Bob, because we've got quite a bit to get through. And I want to keep it on track if you don't mind.
No, that's fine. That was just the demonstration of the amount of refraction involved.
But I have got your link is in the description. The link to your channel's in the description. So by all means, guys, please take a look at that. What's coming up next? Actually, it is the worst flat Earth meetup ever. And it was organised by Marilyn Spirit Level Teed. She is the school board lady, the one that went to the school board with her flat Earth stuff. And she organises a meetup where, well, I'm going to let her tell you, I think. I hope I've got the right clip. Whoops.
Charles, sorry.
Charles.
I got a piece of ice in my mouth.
No problem. I'm Marilyn, and we're here at the January 20th at the Proper Brewery, and this is our meetup, and most of the Flat Earthers couldn't come today, but Charles showed up. So this is interesting. He allows me to record it, and we'll see how our conversation goes. So you're a globe believer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually started in the Flat Earth debate before Mark Sargent did, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, March of 2008 was when I started in the debate. And so the point of my channel is to get people to get outside and take very careful observations and then figure out for themselves the shape of the Earth.
So, what is the curvature formula for your globe?
Yeah, so you could approximate with 8 inches per mile squared. Is actually a very, very good approximation. And what people misunderstand with that calculation is that doesn't tell you how far you should see. But it's like 8 inches per mile squared is just mathematical curvature from this tangent. It doesn't tell you how far you should be able to see.
Correct. I know, that's what I teach.
So so what do you
when you I'm a flat Earth geography teacher.
Oh, okay.
When I teach, I say the sun is 9.3 miles away.
9.3 miles? Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, it sounds amazing or it sounds ridiculous, but I think we're gathering some information which is proving that to be more realistic. Okay, so when I get back to Wildwood and I look up at Atlantic City, and that's 32.6 miles away.
Okay.
So that should be hidden. Atlantic City should be 681 feet.
But that's only according to the 8 inches per mile squared.
Correct.
Which
now,
is not,
explain
which
to me
is not
why,
a measurement of how far you can see.
No, it's a measurement of how far is hidden.
No. This line is not a line of sight.
Okay.
It is a theoretical line.
So what does that
to the
681 feet represent?
The distance from that line, which is the theoretical line doesn't exist, the distance from that line to the surface of the Earth. so many miles away.
So I should not see a 67-story building then.
No, because that's not a line of sight.
The curvature formula tells you how much is going to be hidden.
No, it's not a visible hidden formula. It's just a pure mathematical curvature.
Is that more than a 6-story building for 6 feet?
Well, for starters, we have to make sure we're using the proper calculation. So the calculation you just used, 8 inches per mile squared, it's not an obstruction calculator. It's not to be used for what we can see.
I think you really need to do some field trips, because there has to be some data that you're not getting about the surface of the Earth itself.
Okay, so that's
But I don't think that you can use a theodolite to detect curvature.
So would you say that you could see a mile just fine with a theodolite? Like, with the... It's got a telescope.
I personally have never looked through one.
Yeah. Well, no, but what I'm saying is that the water was actually 8 inches, had dropped 8 inches in 1 mile from level. So if you have a theodolite here, and it's shooting a level line, and then you have this target, the target was just 8 inches down after a mile.
I'm going to reject that because I don't really know anything about that.
Yeah.
I can't be there holding their hand and making them be honest. So I can't know.
Okay.
There's a lot of information out there that's false. But I think that when you are honest about looking at great distances, you're going to see that we are seeing way too far.
Yeah, way too far if we didn't have an atmosphere. But if you add an atmosphere, which allows a little tiny bit of atmospheric refraction,
well, then it should be a tiny little bit of error, but that's not what we're finding. We're finding we can see the whole building.
Right, which is less than half a degree. It's less than half a degree.
No.
Do the math, and you'll find it's less than half a degree.
No. Well, no, you're just going on the sun and the moon and the stars thing, and I'm thinking that you need to get down to earth and look at stuff that's on the ground and on the water. But you were down at the harbor or whatever you said.
Yeah, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't see Wildwood. I should have been if the earth was flat. I should have absolutely been able to see Wildwood.
But I do blame those who are told the truth and they still refuse to see it. And there are some out there, some teachers, who are told this is not true. The heliocentric model is not true. And here is why. And they refuse to look into it. Those teachers I can blame. Those are the teachers that you have to hold accountable. And if they refuse to study perspective and understand what it is,
well, that was
and
a
why
special
they
little
see
exchange.
the sun coming in a straight line, making shadows, and they say that it fits the spinning ball model. Well, that can't be. How can it fit the spinning ball model and not the flat earth model? Because we absolutely live on a flat plane. So anything you are experiencing in reality is being experienced on a flat plane. And it is not a spinning ball. So don't let them take your mind.
Wow.
Well, I think she defended herself from Charles' mind games very well. He looked like an FBI agent from a movie.
I should say, just in case anyone doesn't know, that is Flat Earth Math. His channel is, and he's a veteran in the Flat Earth debate, as he was saying at the start there, since 2008. And he's a really nice bloke, and you know, he tried so hard, but he just couldn't get he couldn't get that one point at least through to her, could he? About what 8 inches per mile squared represented. And then you saw that video where she's in the car is a few days later, and I think he'd obviously rocked her world a little bit, and then she'd just sort of regressed into that sort of, you know, religious preaching that she came out with, I think.
Yeah. I think she was searching within herself a reason to reject and try and vilify him so she didn't have to think about what he was saying anymore.
Right. And her thing, you know, when she's out in the street is always, if anyone tries to take her on, she always says, I'm not here to debate. And I think that's the third time I've heard her use as a response to, as a rebuttal to an argument, I reject that, with no further explanation, you know. Any thoughts, Kat?
Quite possibly.
Oh, bless her! I thought it was so funny. Like, I just thought the rant she had at the end of the end was quite sweet. Really, she reminds me of my mate's mum. She's well annoying. Oh my god.
Yeah. Quite possibly the worst Tinder date ever.
Yeah.
She didn't even share any of food.
Well, to be fair, I mean, she does offer him food, and he says he's just eaten. There's actually a really sort of sweet bit when they first sit down, because you notice right at the start of that there's loud music playing, and they ask for it to be turned down, and it gets turned down, and then someone turns it back up again. So Marilyn decides to take the law into her own hands. You can hear her sort of moving furniture about. Presumably she gets a stool or something, stands on it, and pulls the plug out of the speaker. And as she does this, Charles sort of his sort of mouth drops open, and then he sort of drops his head and sort of suddenly takes a drink to sort of hide himself in his drink. And he says, I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything. And I almost included that clip, but it was so long already, I just couldn't put it all in. But yeah, he I don't know. He bit off more than he could chew almost, I think. What do you think, Scott?
I mean, first of all, it's hilarious how awkward that must have been. A flat Earth conference. The only two that showed up, is that what happened?
Right, yeah. He, you know,
so,
it's just
it's like you go to a conference and now you're sitting across the stranger. But the thing that she said that I thought was, I don't know, interesting or telling, or it was when he was asking about theodolite, she said, I never looked through one, right? And it's like, I mean, it just feels so much like an example of what she was ranting out about the end when she says, if they're not willing to go look for themselves, then those are the ones I blame. And it's so easy to do something like look through a theodolite. I mean, it's not, you know, you may have arguments against it, but if you're a full-on flat earther and you're really trying to figure out the answer, and you haven't done that, I don't understand. I guess I'm always struck by that cognitive dissonance right there, where they don't perceive themselves as being the ones doing the things that they judge than the rest of the world.
Right, because right before that, she says that you know, I think you need to do more field trips because there must be some data about the surface of the Earth. I think she says, or something like that you're missing. And then he asked her about theodolites, and she says, "Oh, I've never looked in one." And I thought, yeah, that's the data about the surface of the Earth that you're missing.
Well, the problem that you run into is, you know, you never want to ask a question that you don't want to hear the answer to. So, I mean, why on earth would a flat earther actually use a theodolite to see whether or not the horizon dropped? When they can just as easily say, well, to my eye, the horizon rises to my eye level.
Right.
But you can easily measure it. There's a $6 app on an iPhone. You know, as long as you calibrate it, you can get a pretty decent reading. You know, if you're at some elevation, you can make yourself a water level with $5 worth of stuff from the hardware store. You know, why aren't they using these things? You know, it's because they don't want to have the answer. They want to continue the narrative, and they want to continue to live the fantasy. You don't insert facts into your fantasy. because those facts may not necessarily agree with your fantasy. And I think that's one of the reasons you don't see a lot of flat earthers using instrumentation.
Right.
It's a little bit like they're constantly talking about they're in a room and there's another room through a door. But rather than opening the door and walking through it to find out what's over there, they just look through the keyhole.
Right.
They refuse to open the door.
No, actually, they look at a YouTube video of somebody that claims to have looked through the keyhole in the dark.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's close to what it is. I don't think it's a refusal to go through the door. I think they're just lazy. They're just not going to go to. They're just going to watch YouTube videos. They're not going to go and get a theodolite or whatever. That's too much effort. In reality, they wait for someone else to post it for them.
It's worse than physical laziness. It's intellectual laziness. They don't have the basic level of curiosity that drives science. You know, if I see something that looks like a flat Earth to me, you show me a YouTube video that demonstrates shoreline to shoreline long distance photography over 50 miles. You know, that does not follow my worldview. But you know, I really want to track that down and find out what's going on, because that's got my curiosity up.
Right.
And quite frankly, if it turns out that I had 50 miles of dead flat ocean between me and a shore, I'd have to reassess my entire lifelong education to try and figure it if I couldn't explain that.
Well, to be fair, that's what they're doing. I mean, that's why this is a movie. That's why they go out and, you know, shoot lasers over lakes, and you know, I mean, they are curious. I mean, they are doing stuff. They are curious, and there's mistakes they're making.
But the problem that you run into with that is they're not curious enough to change their worldview if the answer doesn't come up with what they want. You know, I just put out a video today on P-Brain, who's doing that famous thing where he puts the little ball with the blue water on it on a drill and spins it and say, well, here's definitive proof the Earth isn't spinning. I actually did the calculations, you know, and still all he does is, as soon as I just puts out another video saying exactly the same thing. And that's, do you guys not see that in the flat Earth community constantly? How many times have we talked about Phuket and his perspective?
Oh,
yet the next day he puts out another video saying exactly the same thing that we just disproved the day before.
Right.
You know, it's like 50 first dates.
It's very cyclic as well. The arguments sort of come and go, and then they come back, and you know, one person uses them, and then you don't hear from them for a little while. Then somebody else has got them, and it's
yeah. It went from perspective, and then it went to scientific method, and I think right now the current darling of flat Earth is the second law of thermodynamics.
Right.
And you know, and you know, you ask them, okay, well, what is this? And they have no idea. They can't even define a basic term. I mean, a simple term. You know, and then they turn around and, you know, say, well, you know, well, define mass. Well, A, I'm not your dictionary. And B, mass is, well, let's see, it's on Sunday. There's a Catholic priest there. There's some wine and there's some crackers. There you go. Well, that's not, well, it sure as hell is. Ask the Pope.
So, Scott, would you date Marilyn?
Actually, this is probably a good time to announce that I have. I did. It was great. I felt like we got along really well.
She's 63, so you know.
She it was a little bit of what's that movie? Can't remember what it was. It was May December. Is that what it's called? It was a little bit of a May December thing.
She's nearer my age, I guess. I would date her if she wasn't so crazy, but
I do actually want to date a flat earther, but that one might not be my choice.
Why do you want to date a flat earther? Is it because
you know what? I mean,
they're sort of vulnerable
too much
and
about
impressionable?
Yeah, no, it's just because I don't know, I like drama and crazy. And
right, talking of drama, we've got some high drama to end our show. Actually, do you know what I haven't done? What I've forgotten to do is say hi to the chat.
Ah.
I know. So you guys are just going to have to be quiet while I do this bit, which is a little bit boring for you, I'm afraid. But, you know, there's a few interesting names here that you might enjoy. For instance, Vacuum Clit, good evening to you. Al K is with us, good evening. Excuse me. Curve Waters here. Clone Cloud, good evening. Bob Noddle has, no, that would be Bob Nodell, has the IQ of a corn dog. Welcome to you. Beyond Practical Examples. Good name, I like that. Gosh, what a lot of spamming. Please, guys, you'd make this difficult. Dev Devilson is with us. Good evening. Kosho Fibonacci. Hi, Kosho. Lottie. Check out Lottie's merch. Hi, Ad's with us. Phil Nye, the Science Guy. Good evening. Lenny Harry. Thank you for joining us. Who else have we got? Not Flat. Good evening. Flashburn. Welcome, Flash. Alan B, of course, with us. M. Scott Beach, of course, with us. Validation Boy, as always. Good evening and welcome, Validation Boy. Check out VB's channel for, well, you know, he's a character. Bass is with us. Hi, Bass. Dan Palladino, of course. Welcome back, Dan. Laurie Gale. Welcome, Laurie. Did I miss somebody there? No, I didn't. Shruminati, shout out to Shroomy.
Shout out Shroomy.
We got Sean Hawkins out there too, my man.
Oh, I'm getting there. Hi, Sean Hawkins. Welcome. I'm only about a quarter of the way through this. Cunter Cumteeth. That's a nice name. Flat Earth Vader, or Firth Vader, even. Blue Nigger with an A, I should add. Good evening to you. Sorry, guys, I know this drones on a bit. Lewis, of course, is with us. Hi, Lewis. Multi Tom Tom. Good evening, Multi Tom Tom. Hope you're being rude to everyone as usual. Termin, good evening. Delete the Elite. Love your channel, mate. That was a great, a great Arwyn video, I should say, without preempting things too much. Arwyn coming up right after this. Get in there, guys. Hang on. 3/4 of the way
You got some
through
good
now.
new names coming in, Jem. Just warning you.
Got some what?
Got some good names coming up.
Oh,
just
right.
warning.
People are switching accounts to make me look stupid, are they? Good on them. Phil Nye, the Science Guy. Did I do you already? Hannah Anderson. Good evening, Hannah. I'm going as fast as I can now to get. Isa Mahalski's with us. Good evening, Isa. Sean Hawkins. Hi. Oh gosh, nearly there. Clive Adams. Hi, Clive. Good to see you, mate. Ping Pong. Good evening. And Unorthodox is with us. Hi, Unorthodox. And Imric. Good evening, Imric. And Zombie Wolf. I think that's everyone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you, everyone else, for being here.
You missed the good ones, Jem.
I haven't, have I?
What about Arwyn the Flat Earth Cum Bucket?
Oh.
You didn't shout out Arwyn the Flat Earth Cum
Bucket.
Bucket.
On this one yet. Unless it's sort of filtered them out, or maybe this is lagged or something. Oh, yeah, here they are. Evening to Arwyn the Flat Earth Cum Bucket. Is there more after that I should be reading out?
Yes, yeah, there are.
I mean, we can't forget Nathan has a bald spot on the back of his head.
Okay, the Pirate Panda is with us.
Yeah.
Arwyn's Dungeon and Dragons friend.
I didn't miss you, Bass. I said you, Bass. Oh, it isn't Bass. It's Matt. It says Bass at the beginning. Okay, Matt, sorry.
Darkstar.
Darkstar. Oh, yeah, sorry, Darkstar. Look, I'm not doing any more. The rest of you are just going to have to remain unmentioned. You can be the unmentionables. Let's have some lovely Arwyn, shall we? Everyone up for that?
Yeah.
Let me get it ready.
Cue it up, Jem.
Here we go.
I had a very rough night. I just couldn't sleep. And I've been thinking thinking about things I don't want to think about. About my past, about what it was for me to be a liberal kid, what that caused. And I'm just thinking back about these people that basically came to our house. Seemed innocent enough. I don't even know how they were acquainted to my parents in any way. I think they were part of the music community that, my mother was obviously hanging around with. I don't think much happened really, but they did kind of like try a conversation about, their liberal thing of pedophilia with me. Like, you know what that is? It's slightly different. You know, he can't really help it. That kind of shit. And in retrospect, I remember the guy basically secretly lusting over me. Like, putting his hand on my shoulder like, oh, you're such a great sport. And it freaks me out. It freaks me out because I want to kill him. Even though nothing happened, and just thinking now like, oh my god, what this guy, what has he done ever since? I don't even know who it was. Some old guy. Goddamn talk about disgusting freaking pedophiles and all these maniacs. I can't stand it anymore. I can't stand it. Stop talking about it and do something! Kill them all! Now! Slice her open! And do it quick. Don't fuck around. And don't fucking think of the freaking consequences, okay? Just do it! Just get rid of them all! And do it fast! Don't fuck around! Get your goddamn shotgun, whatever the fuck you got, knives, and just go to them and freaking kill them all! No! Fuck justice! Fuck the courts! They are the freaking pedophiles! They are them! Fuck the courts! Fuck the law! Kill the pedophiles! Kill them all! Exorcise them from this world! I want my life back. I want to grow up in a non-liberal family. This stupid woman, this liberal friend of mine, she had the gall in my presence to defend pedophilia. I wanted to kill her. I wanted to take her freaking cake knife that she made and jab it right through her skull. I just want
Arwijn, check this out.
I just want a modest family, but I don't want my goddamn kids growing up to be taught to be pedophiles. I don't want these creepy old men coming by my house, demanding my kids.
Arwijn, do you have kids?
No. Listen to me. I was freaking summoned in this world by my parents, okay? And I probably haven't even been raped. I don't even freaking remember, but just them existing and approaching, it is too much. It disrupts shit. I can't summon a kid in a world where pedophiles rule us. I can't do it. They must die.
So, like, what I'm saying, Arwijn, though, is that, if you focus on beautiful things may come to you. Like, you believe in the idea
and the
that...
darkness will
hold on.
Listen,
hey, listen to me, Arwijn.
Hey, hold on. Focus on beautiful things, Isa!
Boys.
I'm not!
You believe in...
I will not focus on beautiful things! As long as this shit is out there! I will not dream
I'm gonna go there, man. You have a love... Yeah, take care, bro. Take care, man.
That guy needs some help.
Your first name is?
Oh
my God.
It's not funny. I mean, he's talking about killing people and doing things like that. That guy needs a visit.
I just can't.
Charles.
I don't know. There's nothing to say about this. It's just, it is what it is.
It's scary, isn't it? But I think it's an act. I think it's partly an act.
I think it was acted as well. Like he's trying to play up to an expectation that he thinks his audience has.
I think he's indulging an emotion, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's acting. I don't think he's generating fake emotion.
Yeah, he's
okay. Indulging.
Yeah,
Right.
It's he's emoting is what he's doing.
Yeah, it's like he's letting a rage or he's letting this feeling become bigger and bigger inside of him. He's not trying to suppress it. He's letting it grow. But I think it's coming from a genuine place. I don't think it's a calculation of any kind.
I think that guy needs some counseling, and I don't really think that ought to be on YouTube, man.
I mean, this is his third outburst, and it's probably his third appearance on this show. It's and it's the most viewers. He had 168 people watching that. And interestingly enough, I contacted a couple of his friends to tell them to contact him and get him off air because, you know, he shouldn't be doing this. Not only for himself, but it's clearly against the terms of service on YouTube. And, you know, if this is going to become his legacy, then he needs to think very hard about what he's doing. But he's clearly an angry man at his lot. But I look at his show and he's clearly depressed. He rolls out of bed. He's got no plan for his show at all. He's got no content. He just gets up, turns his computer on and starts talking. And he's not got much to say. And all his other friends, for all the time that he goes on other shows, don't turn up. They don't turn up. They don't return the favours. He'll appear on Ranties. He'll appear on Flat Earth debates. And these people don't return that favour to him at all. And 10 minutes after he'd had that outburst, he were on Nathan's show as if nothing had happened. It's really strange behaviour.
That's a cry for help, man. You know, I think he needs some intervention there. If you know people in real life that know this guy, you know, he needs some intervention.
Well, actually, I mean, one of the things he said during that is that he'd had interventions since he was a child and continues.
Yeah, I wonder why.
And continues now to see a social worker, I think he said, because somebody else.
He needs to see a psychiatrist.
Yeah, he was having none of that when it was suggested to him.
Yeah, he didn't want to see.
Is he an American?
No,
he's in the Netherlands.
Okay, he's in the Netherlands. Okay.
I think the worst thing that could happen, because the thing is about these Arwijn clips is, you know, it's wrong watching it, but you it's like watching a car crash, isn't it? It's really compelling, and like I worry that he could get big, because I think it is half and half. It's half he's obviously depressed, that's why he's behaving like that, and looking at all this content that he's talking about. But it is also like, I do think there is a part to it that he's egging it a little bit because he's getting the attention from it, even if it's a bit subconscious. I don't know. I'm not an expert in these things, but that's what I worry about.
I think big. I think he's genuinely depressed, but I think he's, you know, sort of.
Yeah, I would say that he's depressed and he's manic. And the other side of this that is quite worrying is people from chat are encouraging him, and they're encouraging him not in a way to explode, but by saying that this is real and this is human, and you know, this is what real people do. And then the next day, as somebody on like Constance, you know, advising him, you know, to speak to his healer and not go to a doctor and not seek professional help. These people are not right, and they're not. I don't get
That's terrible.
I don't get a sense of community from these people.
That's terrible, though. I mean, if that guy did that in front of me, he'd have 3 days in Camp Happy Land to at least have a chat with some people and get stabilized. I mean, no question, signature goes down.
Well, he the most disturbing bit of it for me really is what he wants to do with a cake knife. I mean, that's just totally wrong.
Well,
you
I've
should only use those for cutting cake, of course.
Okay. I've watched some of the subsequent ones, and the thing that kind of is worrisome, although it's one of these things where you don't really think will happen, but then of course sometimes it does. But it's like what Justin, they're planning. It's like planning. It's like people are like signing up to be on Team Attack. Half of them seem like they're joking, but Arwyn's taking it seriously. Arwyn's thanking people directly, like, thank you for being part of the team. And they're talking about people that they would target. And I don't know the laws, but I feel like it's getting dangerously close to where people get arrested for making threats online and stuff like that,
Yep. He's
Yeah,
definitely breaking terms of service there.
No, I mean, they need to come have a chat with him. They need to come have a chat with him because he's got targets, he's got plans, he's got specifics about what he wants to do. I mean, that's something there. If we've got anybody in the Netherlands that knows this guy, I mean, he needs to be intervened.
Well, hang on, is he planning an attack? I missed this.
No, it's more like when I say planning.
He's talking about attacking a woman with a cake knife and name the woman.
Oh,
all right, that's enough for me.
That was a past story, not a plan, but yeah.
Right, yeah, it was something that had happened in the past. I think it's.
But I mean, he did say, hey, he was actively encouraging people to go after people that they believe to be pedophiles. So, like, I mean, it's reckless. At the bare minimum, it's incredibly reckless. And that assumes that he's perfectly sane.
I wonder if there are any paedophiles in the chat that have got a comment on that.
It's a big assumption.
Oh, it is a big assumption. Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be anybody responding. I don't know. Maybe there aren't any here.
I think knowing the flat earthers, Jem, we'll probably end up with 15 dead paediatricians.
That's a good one. Well, we should probably round it up unless anyone's got anything else they want to say.
I just want to say as well, like, definitely, because like Arwyn is crazy, like people should just think about twice when they're like winding him up or saying stuff to him, because he could do something mad, and like you don't want that on you. Or
your name will end up on a list.
Well,
our names are all on a list anyway.
I mean, I do have to ponder about, it does, I do think, well, should I play this? Should I show this again? But at the end of the day, he makes it public. He's an adult. He knows he's making it public. He even when he was doing it, he said he knows that people will take the piss out of him and things for it. So, so far he's fair game. But
I think
he'll have to do something really good to get on this show again.
I think because he's also picked that this is what he does every day for an hour with no preparation whatsoever, and thinks he's actually owed a living by everybody, and actually classes what he does as a full-time job. I mean, he must be spending, even if you flick YouTube on 4 or 5 times a day, he is everywhere. He's doing 16 hours of this a day, and it's leading him down wormholes. It's making him ill. It's obviously making him depressed and having a massive effect on him. And as I said before, what surprises me is that people in his own community can't see what's happening to him and don't want to offer him any advice. And if they do offer him advice, it's the wrong kind of advice that he needs to. I mean, he didn't want to be going off to an healer to burn some weeds over him. He needs professional help. And he won't seek it because he believes narcissistically that he knows better than everybody else. And that's quite worrying.
Right. On that depressing note,
I concur.
On that depressing note, I think it's time we rounded it up. So, join us again next week for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comments section of this video. Or join our Discord server, the link is in the description, along with channel links for tonight's panel. Our Discord server has over 1,100 members and we managed to keep a conversation going virtually 24/7. We welcome new members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel, and thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time next week, so until then, please rate, comment and subscribe and share this video. Have a great evening.
And a shout out to Dark Star.
You're misleading the public. You're lying to people.
We are part of a giant studio set. All the world's a stage, and you're on it.
Jesus Christ, can suck my dick? Suck my dick?
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Well, guys, that was the show, huh?
Man's getting rude. Man's getting rude.
Is it still live? Are we still live?
Still live.
It could be a what's it? It could be an onion ring, a hairless monkey.
I gotta get over to
something
Lottie's
through the
store and buy
vacuum,
some
or a
birds.
potato rock.
Yeah, if we dumped what we found right now, we would be. It'd be bad. It would be bad.
You can't have a both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things make
Well, guys,
sense.
I think I'm going to go do some homework.